welcome to the Suchi Podcast, a talk show that covers the fashion industry from top to bottom. I'm your host, Lorenzo Giurina, and this week we have the CEO of Brooklyn United Ties, Aki Ashe. He firmly believes in the philosophy, dress for success, and with his ties and his new book that's coming out, he's helping you do just that. It's a really great episode. I really enjoyed talking with him. There's a lot of things you can learn, a lot of things I can learn, definitely, about dressing for success. So here he is, Aki Ashe of Brooklyn United Ties. Well, first of all, thank you, Aki, for coming into the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's great having you here.
Absolutely.
So I like to start off each episode getting some background on the guests. So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, basically my name is Aki Ashe. I'm originally from upstate New York, Poughkeepsie, New York area. And now I live in Brooklyn, New York. I've been there for the past 14 years. And I started my business, which is called Brooklyn United Ties. I started that around 2 years ago. And so far, it's been a dream. It's been a dream come true.
So you started Brooklyn United Ties 2 years ago. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yes. Brooklyn United Ties is basically a company that makes ties, neckties, bow ties, pocket squares, and scarves. And, basically when I was growing up, I was born in an African-American family. I'm from a family of us, 6. So we grew up very poor, having difficult times. So my mother, she basically instilled in me wearing a good suit and wearing a good tie was a very important thing, and that if you dress really well, then it would higher your chances to be successful. So that's something I always took into consideration. But me being young at the time, I didn't realize how it would really affect my life until I started getting out there and graduating high school, going on job interviews, and just see how people perceive me based on what I was wearing, and different things like that, even based on my skin color, or if I was heavy set or if I was skinny. Because actually when I was younger, I was more of a heavy set person.
Yeah.
So, I kind of, seeing how perception was really, just one of those things that, it's very important. So this all led up to me starting my company, where now I get to empower men and women, because we actually do scarves for women too, empower them and show them like dressing for success, it really helps out in their career. And I'm really big on do not dress like the part that you're in. Dress for the part that you want to become. So if you want to be, let's say, a CEO of a company or a president of a company or a president of a college or things of that nature, you basically look how these people act, how they walk, talk, and dress, and basically that becomes your model and your template to get to where you need to go.
Right.
So that's basically the formula that I have been following so far, and it's a great recipe. And it has, it's brought me here. It's been, it opened up a lot of opportunities for me and a lot of doors for me.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I guess it started kind of young then. This was kind of instilled in you by your mother, you say?
Yes. I think having a very strong mother, I grew up with a mother and father, but my mother was definitely more of the dominant half. And they both were hard workers and they worked together, but I think it was definitely qualities that was instilled in me. At the time when I was younger, I didn't realize that I will become what I'm becoming today. I didn't realize it until now I have hindsight, and I see that, everything up until this point that happened to me in my life, it all happened for a reason. So I kind of take all those experiences and all that wisdom that I have, and I kind of use it to my advantage. And, it's just a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing when you can use everything that you've been taught and your life experiences and put it all together and make it into a product or a service or a business and help people, inspire people, and help them become successful and help them with their dreams.
So you've been, you said for 2 years, right, Brooklyn United Ties. When did this all kind of start, like your actual development into the world of fashion and apparel? I know that this is something that you studied, right?
Right. This is something that I studied at FIT. I took some classes, some courses, but my first actual business, I didn't have a tax ID for this business, but my first business was like in high school, where I would get like jeans, pants and things of that nature, and I would buy it from the store. I would draw a design on it, and then I would sell it to my classmates. For a profit.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't realize I was doing entrepreneurship. I was doing it to make lunch money so I can afford to get a second meal or get an extra cookie, in my like middle school or high school, So, and then I also did other things where I would, buy candy from the store at lunchtime. I would sell it. So I always had that entrepreneurial spirit to like make money that way versus working at a job and things of that. But yeah, I think that was my first fashion, was with jeans and drawing different designs on them and stuff like that.
That's really
when
cool.
I was young. Yeah.
I know we did something like that in my high school. Gum, though, it was just pieces of gum like that would just float around, and people would be like swapping it all the time, getting money for it.
Right.
I don't know why gum was such a hot commodity. I think part of it was because it was like not allowed.
Right.
So it was just kind of that aspect to it. But yeah, no, I mean that's definitely like typical of like how entrepreneurs begin. Like their first little taste of it, they're like, oh, wait a minute, I realize what I'm doing is basically owning my own business. Maybe you didn't think of it that way, but it did definitely grow into what you have now, which is Brooklyn United Ties.
Absolutely.
So it's an awesome progression to see in people and in the businesses.
Absolutely. And it's an interesting point about that, because when I was buying jeans from the store and then selling them at a higher price and making a profit and things of that nature, it's kind of interesting how you can buy something and sell it, but yet you have to be 16 or 18 to get an actual job to work somewhere, where you could be 10 years old and find a broken wagon around the neighborhood, paint it, and then sell it to your neighbor for a price, So that's like capitalism at its best,
Right.
So, just looking back and just knowing these little things now, these little strategies, because I was actually taught to never sell things or create things for money. I was kind of taught to, apply for a job, and then that's how you make money. That's how you, monetize the situation. Versus, using your mind or creating something and then bringing value to the market. Something that people can use or need or things like that, things of that nature. So
in that sense, I mean, is this something that this entrepreneurship, is that something that runs in your family? Like, do other people have done this before as well? Or?
Now, yeah, I think now, a lot of my like brothers and sisters, a lot of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them have like small businesses, and things of that nature. And yeah, I definitely think that the entrepreneurial spirit, runs really deep in my family. I also see it, the entrepreneurial spirit, maybe not in like a money standpoint or anything like that, but I see it in a family structure standpoint. My parents had three of each, 3 males and 3 females. So with the discipline and stuff that it takes, it's almost like you're supervising employees. It's like the same type of structure.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can keep, if you can use the parallel, I think actually being a parent is probably the hardest job. That's probably the hardest entrepreneurship or whatever that you can get, and like, if you invest in your children and then they'll basically take care of you. It's kind of like a entrepreneur thinks, if I can take care of you and your dream and what you have, then it's going to be a mutual benefit relationship.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
And that's basically what everything is about, just creating relationships, meeting good people like yourself.
Thank you.
And, absolutely.
And I wanted to go back to something that you had mentioned before, especially like, you said that your mom, especially coming from like an African-American family, right, that perception is essentially everything.
Yes.
Right, the way you dress, and first impression, it just really makes a huge impact.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess I'm curious if you wanted to like elaborate a little bit on maybe what it means to be a person of color, right? And having to maybe put a little bit of effort. I mean, like myself, right? Like my family, I'm half black, I'm half Peruvian,
Right.
So that comes with its own baggage. That comes with its own perception of other people, at least how they view me,
Right.
And I know there is that kind of adage that like this kind of you have to work a little bit harder on how you present yourself.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to know your thoughts on that as well.
So my thoughts on that, that basically takes me back to I remember a time where I was in high school, and I had a friend, and I think he was Caucasian, and so sometimes when I didn't necessarily have like a smile on my face, like showing my teeth. If I just had like a subtle look or whatever, just normal. Well, to me it was normal, right? He would think that I was upset or mad, and I'm like, no, I'm not upset or mad. I'm just not smiling, So I don't know if he like perceived it off just person's facial structure or just it's like perception, the way things look, So so like sometimes I have to smile a little more to so people don't think I'm too serious or uptight. Sometimes. So you kind of have to, kind of, feel it out in different things of that nature. It's kind of similar to tattoos. If I'm got 100 tattoos on my face, people probably think something differently of me than if I'm, 7 feet tall, people might think I'm a basketball player, or if I'm, depending on how things look, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a interesting thing, but it is definitely a lot of work to keep up with yourself and keep that perception, and just because you're always it does take a lot of effort. And I know that I had friends that basically took no effort, like it was just a little more easier, it seemed like. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely feel that I've experienced things such as like the smiling aspect a little different. But yeah, so and I appreciate that that's something that you also take into consideration, assuming with your brand, right? I mean, that's part of your mission statement, right? I mean, like, I guess maybe I'm curious a little bit about what this means to you, what Brooklyn United Ties means to you, and what you want it to mean to your customers.
Right. I mean, Brooklyn United Ties, what I want it to mean to my customers is basically, it's something to enhance your wardrobe, make you feel good about yourself, and bring confidence to yourself, bring value to yourself. It doesn't matter about how you look, what color creed you are, what size you are. If you wear glasses, don't wear glasses. If you're short, tall, it doesn't matter about all of that. It's just about investing in yourself, investing in your appearance. I tell people they're basically nothing more than a package on a shelf. If you go to, let's say, a Walmart, and you walk down the cereal aisle and you see different boxes of cereal, different colors, different things, sometimes people basically base what they buy off just from the outside cover. Maybe I want Lucky Charms because the box is red and it's got a rainbow on it or something. Right. I'm like, oh, this makes me feel good. So, and that's basically how we are. We're kind of like walking billboards, and it's something that's taken to consideration. It's not the be all end all, but it's definitely a great start. I remember back when I was, I think I was about 21, and I was applying to this job, and I ended up getting hired for the job. And I remember, I think my first day on the job, I went back to the person that interviewed me, and I was like, and they basically told me to my face, they say, before I even interviewed you, I already knew that I was going to give you the job.
Wow.
Just based off appearance.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So right there was just like another affirmation of what I already thought in my own mind. So it was just like, oh wow, that's interesting. For the job,
right? Like you said,
it was magical. Yeah, it was magical.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of brings me to something else I definitely wanted to touch on. Like the saying, like the clothes don't make the man. It's vice versa, right? That's how that works. So what kind of, and I know you also, make clothing or make the scarves as well for women. Right. But I guess for the sake of this question, like what kind of men wear your ties, or like who are your customers?
More of my customers for who wear my ties are college students that are going into college and they're looking for jobs on the side, or college students that are graduating and looking to go on interviews and things of that nature.
Right.
So it's kind of like like Dress for Success. type of a wardrobe. And it's an interesting dynamic and shift that we're seeing in the workforce, where it seems to go more casual dress. But even though it's going more casual, if you also notice during like an interview process, usually you start off with your tie.
Yep.
Right?
Definitely.
So you kind of start off, suit, tie, or dress scarf, or whatever, things of that nature that may be. And then you kind of, maybe you're there for 5 years or 10 years, you kind of come down, or you're the CEO now and you're like, you know what, I want to, so we like try to, inspire the students and like college students. And that seems more of our demographic, to where they're kind of starting off. So they kind of need that, you start off casual and you're already, you're kind of,
you need to go up from there,
you need
right?
to go.
Like now that you dress casual, now you really still have to impress them. You start off with a great, suit. I know here at Suchi, I definitely dressed a lot sharper than I typically do. On any given day here.
Right.
But yeah, no, and that's, I can just, going back to what you said about, that hiring process that you had, where they knew already just upon appearance, like, I'm going to give this guy the job.
Right.
I mean, it really does say everything. I totally agree with you.
Right.
On that. And so speaking of, college kids, I know also that you talk to a lot of college kids. You do a lot of things at colleges, right? I mean, could you maybe expand on that?
Absolutely. Yes, I speak to different entrepreneurs. I teach every now and then. I do speaking engagements, and I teach classrooms to other entrepreneurs that are aspiring to come up. And I basically share with them, my story of how I got started. And, I tell you, I never witnessed anything like it when I'm in a room of college students, and I'm basically explaining my story and how they respond and, react to me. And I think it's because that they can kind of relate to what I'm doing, and they kind of see me as somebody that's their peer. They don't see it as, I'm the 60-year-old person or something, or an older person. So they feel like it's within their reach. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a great thing to, inspire people, with the entrepreneurship, because when I started doing ties and started the business, Brooklyn United Ties, I never thought that different colleges would call me up and say, hey, can you speak to my students about, dressing for success? Can you teach them how to tie a tie?
Yeah.
Can you bring one of, a woman that that's powerful, that can, talk about dressing for success for women, and, things of this nature. So it has just opened up a lot of, different opportunities for me. And the same thing with teaching these classes. Now I was inspired to write a book.
Yes.
So now, the book that I have is coming out May 1st, which is called The Power of Perception, Dressing for Success, how it, can transform either your job, or whether you want to be an entrepreneur and things like that. So now when I'm at colleges, the students can also read my book and like get the book as well, versus when I'm not there. It's like, okay, so I can't remember what this guy was talking about. So now they have something that they can take home with them, and, they can empower themselves. And, even I had some students that want to do collaborations and like different things of that nature. I'm like, hey, let's collaborate on a tie, or let's collaborate on a idea. Or sometimes they have businesses, they have marketing businesses, photography business, all these things. And they're like, hey, maybe we can do something together. I'm like, absolutely.
That's awesome. You got to love that drive, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you got to have it in order to do anything when it comes to your own businesses, right?
Absolutely. It's like everything, it's just like in life, right? Everything begins with you when you're born, and everything ends with you, right? So life to me basically comes down to choices. Either you can make choices that are going to lead you to the road you want to go on, or you can make choices that lead you somewhere that you don't want to go. And if you see that you're making choices and you're not comfortable with where you're headed, all you do is change your choices and approach the situation differently. And when I say approach, approach is a verb. So it's something that you take action on, something that it just doesn't happen. You have to approach things, take action for things to happen.
Right. Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
really well put. I mean, and I can imagine that's the kind of stuff that we can anticipate from your book. I mean, is there any like what else could we expect from reading that? Like,
So
from the contents, I guess.
Right. So from reading the book, you basically get an understanding of the values and stuff that was instilled with me from the beginning of time from my parents, from my mother and my family and things of that nature. And then you'll also get some like tips on how to dress, like what shirts match with certain ties. Also you actually get what certain colors represent when you're wearing the color. Like, if you go on the court and you wear, let's say, blue, right? It means honesty. So these different subtle things like that, believe it or not, it makes a big difference.
I bet. Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes what you're wearing could give off the signal you want to, or it gives off the vibe that you don't want to. So it gives you tips on that. Also, I had the chance of sit with different CEOs and different presidents around the Brooklyn area, New York City area. And so they have provided me with different quotes and different things that I have in the book about dressing for success, and just basically what it means to them and how they got to where they got from how they dress. So, I'm just thinking off the head.
Right.
Like I have a quote from the CEO of Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, wow. Okay. Cool.
Andrew Hone is in the book.
Yeah.
And just, other entrepreneurs in the area and other business women and men that are in the book. Some from stores, from all types of different ventures.
That's awesome.
So,
and you said May 1st. We can expect that coming out.
May 1st.
Awesome.
May 1st.
Very soon. Yeah, it's coming out pretty soon. That must be exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's my first book. So.
That's your first one?
Yeah, it's my first book.
That's great.
But I do want to eventually I'm going to do more books. This is my first one. The next book that I probably put out would be doing something with like women,
right.
On empowering women. As well, maybe like a collaboration, with another woman that's kind of in like a dress for success role.
Talking about your book, right? I guess I'm curious about like the experiences that you might have had, like, or maybe any difficulties. I mean, writing a book is no easy task to undertake. I mean, and were there any revelations that you had, anything that was new to you that came out to you as you were writing it?
Yeah. There was a lot of things that came out to me. And it was very difficult to actually write the book because I never wrote a book before. And, this is like a small page book. It's not like a 300-page book or anything of that, that nature. But, there was basically things from my childhood and stuff that I didn't realize that I had to think of that had a major impact that, like, really, impacted me, and things like that. So I was able to, like, write it all down. But, also, like, trying to put your thoughts on paper and really, like, organizing everything is very difficult. Like, especially, like, if you don't have, like, a model or some type of format that you're following. Right. That's, like, your ideas could be all over the place.
Just the aspect of ties themselves, right? I mean, what makes your ties unique? What really pops?
Right. What basically makes Brooklyn United Ties unique is basically like the designs that we do are like custom designs. So first we can draw the design, and then we make the fabric, and then we hand stitch the ties one at a time. So even if somebody has like a concept or something like that, we'll be able to put that concept on paper, and then we're able to make an actual tie for them that they want.
It's awesome.
So that's a very unique selling proposition.
Right. Absolutely. So, it's your own design on your
its own design. Yeah. And then also we do have like some of the like the Dress for Success stuff is more like, your basic colors and things of that nature. Like a lot of blacks sell, a lot of blues, right. Things of that, stripes, things of that nature. So yeah. So now we're like kind of on that movement of that women empowerment though. Because women have been supporting Brooklyn United Ties. They've been buying it for their husbands or their son or their brother. So they basically came to us, our clientele, and was like, hey, you got something for women? Like we feel left out. So now we get to empower women, which is
Definitely.
A great thing. Yeah.
And even I guess women can also wear ties too. The first woman I can think of is like Janelle Monáe. She can rock a suit really, really well.
Absolutely.
She looks amazing in that.
Right.
And like when I was very young myself, I really wanted to. I pictured myself wearing suits all the time.
Right.
The reality is that I don't.
Right.
But like, what kind of trends do you see like in people wearing suits or wearing ties? Or what kind of trends do you see in that sense of style?
I see a trend where it's more like the traditional looks is always there, like a classic look, like a classic black tie or a classic blue tie or like a striped tie. I don't see too many designs with too many like Jerry Garcia ties, right? Like you see those and they're like paint and all types of things all over, but it's mostly like your classic things to match with the suit.
Yeah.
That's the basically trend that I see. And if you take a picture, let's say now in a classic tie or classic suit, and then 20 years from now, it's gonna still look nice.
Still timeless.
Yeah, still timeless. Yeah. Versus if you have, I don't know, a design on your tie or a different, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know what, like an ABC letter on your tie, right? And repeat pattern.
Yeah. Like
20 years from now, you might be like, what was I thinking wearing that type of tie? I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, wearing suits and ties it's definitely a timeless kind of outfit to wear. I can't imagine it ever going out of style.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of something like that because I like the show Mad Men, and they wear a lot of suits in there, a lot of great attire there.
Yes.
And as the story progresses, the time change. Like it's in the 60s, but the main character Donald Draper, he just looks timeless because he doesn't adhere to like the new trends. And I think that's kind of part of what you're saying. Like if you don't hop on the latest trend, right, you won't look back and be like, what was I doing? And that's only because everyone else is doing it, right? That's only what's in.
Yes.
You want to dress timeless, I guess. You want to make a statement too at the same time.
It's something,
right?
Yeah. Like it's something about that, like classic James Bond look or something. It's just, it's clean, it's sharp, it's honest, it's just, it works.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
It works.
I can't imagine meeting anyone that would look at James Bond and be like, what the heck is this guy
wearing?
Right,
what's he wearing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Like even if you're going to interviews or just like anywhere, if you wear like, let's say you wear a solid color tie, people tend to take you more seriously. Even a solid color shirt, they seem, or a stripe or, something simple. They take you more seriously than if you have like, a rainbow looking shirt or something, or just with multiple colors on it, right? Yeah. They're like, oh, all right, that's great, but he's probably fun, which is great, but when you're fun, they might not take you seriously, so, because it's like, I don't know, I guess it expresses your personality.
Yeah, different expressions for sure.
Yeah.
I think we're coming down to the end around here, but it has been great talking to you.
Likewise.
And as I do every show, I allow our guests some free time to just kind of plug anything, so you can let them know what to look for, how to follow you, how to keep up to date, any other things you want to let them know about.
Sure, right. So basically, myself personally, you can find me on social media. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Aki Ashe, which is spelled AKI. My last name is spelled ASHE. And for Brooklyn United Ties, you can find that on all the social media platforms, and it's Brooklyn United Ties. But for Twitter, it's at BK United Ties.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we can definitely keep up to date with your book release on those social media pages as well.
Right. You can keep up to date on my book release if you go to www.brooklynunitedties.com. You'll see everything, every entrepreneurial venture that I'm going to be going into.
Awesome.
And also, if you want to contact me on LinkedIn, it's Aki Ashe. So yeah, we try to stay with the social media and try to stay in touch with people that want to be in touch. To influence and inspire other people, even if they want to network or they want to partner. I'm always open to the conversation. I'm just open to build relationships.
Great. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to staying in contact as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe I can come on here with my book next or something.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Power of perception.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It was really great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again to our listeners. We really appreciate you sticking around and giving us a listen. Big thank you to Aki Ashe for stopping by and teaching me a thing or two on dressing for the life I want, for the careers I have in mind. Thank you very much for a lot of your tips. I'm very excited to get a copy of your book, as I'm sure many of our listeners are. As always, make sure to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Leave some comments down there. We want to hear from you, and give us that gleaming, glowing, beautiful 5-star review. It would really mean a lot to us, and it really helps us keep doing what we're doing. And again, you can always follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, however you like to get your content. This has been the Suchi Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you around next time.